करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
So the body, mind, intellect equipments are activated by Atma. Atma is the spirit and body, mind, intellect is the matter. This is what we covered in the last class. Now, how does these three equipments react with the world? The experience is consisting of two factors, the individual and the world. First, he is covering about the individual. Later in the chapter, he is going to cover about the world. But the transaction is between the individual and the world, and at what level, how the individual and the world react with each other. That is going to be given by what we famously know as the 3R traffic. The 3R traffic refers to the receipt, reaction, and response.
When you contact the world, three distinct transactions take place. Receipt of sense stimuli from the world, reaction within your personality, response to the world. The stimuli from the world reach you through your organs of perception, color and form through your eyes, sound through ears, smell through nose, taste through tongue, and touch through skin. Having entered therein, the stimuli react with the mind and intellect. The type of reaction within will depend upon the quality of the stimuli contacted and the nature of your mind and intellect reacting with them. Consequent to the reaction, you send out responses back into the world through your organs of action. Analyze your present experience of reading this literature. Your eyes are taken in the stimuli in the form of letters and words. These stimuli reach your mind and intellect. A reaction sets in. The mind feels and the intellect judges as per their quality and texture. In some, the reaction may be favorable. In that case, the response will be to read further. In others, the reaction may be unfavorable, and their response will be to stop reading. Receipt, reaction, and response are the three transactions constantly taking place in your life. The human mechanism resembles a manufacturing process which too comprises the three operations. Raw material is fed into the factory at one end. The material is processed by the machines. The products manufactured are dispatched at the other end. To ensure the best production, all three operations have to be perfected. Raw material taken in must be of good quality, machines tuned up and operated properly, end products tested to ensure quality control. Likewise, the three transactions of life have to be optimized to ensure a perfect life.
The 3R traffic of life consists of the receipt, reaction, and response. The three sets of organs, not three sets. In body, he talked about the two sets of organs, which is the organs of perception and the organs of action. And the inner personality here is taken together. So in that sense, there are three sets of organs. The receipt of stimuli is from the external world. So that is why we said that the organs of perceptions are called as Jnana Indriyas. Jnana Indriyas means, Jnana means knowledge. So the knowledge of the world enters you through these 5 organs: the eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. 5 distinct type of stimuli, 5 distinct type of organs, and their functions are very, very unique. And then the stimuli that comes into you reacts with your thoughts, your desires, your inner personality. So each and every person, though he is perceiving the same stimuli, the reactions will differ from person to person because of their desires and their thoughts and their ideas, their attitude. Everything, this component is the main component. This is the engine within our system. So that is going to differ from person to person. That reaction happens based on your mind and intellect component. And based on the reaction, what happens is that you give out response back to the world. So you get from the world and you give back to the world. This is actually not happening one after the other. Continuously, simultaneously, all these things are happening all the time. But these 3 are the 3 broad, distinct transactions that are happening. The organs of actions are obviously your speech, your hands and legs, your genital organs, and your organs of evacuation. These are the 5 organs of action. So this process, the author says, resembles a factory, resembles a manufacturing concern, where raw material is fed from one side, machinery processes the raw material, and the finished product comes out of the other side. So if you want to have a proper running of the factory, you need to attend to all the 3 transactions: the receipt, the reaction and the response. So the example given here is, suppose if a person is reading a paper and he is getting some news out of it that is coming through his eyes. So that is the receipt. Suppose if it is talking about a political rally and you are interested in politics and it's your leader who is coming. Immediately there is a reaction. The reaction is that, it is creating an interest in you. You are excited about it. Based on which, immediately you can respond. You can respond by wanting to attend the rally, wanting to tell a friend, or how to tell the office to take a leave, or having some frustration that you cannot attend the rally. All these are responses. So here, sometimes you will find that the response can be keeping quiet also, or some other body language also. So you cannot argue that what is the organ of action that I am employing. The fact is that it has to be expressed through organ of action. Sometimes you can control the expression through organs of action. That's about all. But the response is associated with organs of action. So this is one example. Suppose if you are not interested in that political rally, if you are not interested in politics at all, if that type of desires and thoughts and interests is not there within your system, then what do? Then you turn the page of the newspaper, that's all. The receipt obviously comes in, but there is no reaction. Because of your inner personality, there is no reaction. But next page, there is some other thing, there is a music program, there you may react. So what we find is that the reaction is based on your already existing areas of interest, thoughts, various other things that are there. If a person has worked towards wiping off a good amount of his desires, then his reaction reduces. The receipt, you cannot have much control. Of course, you will have control, but we'll come to that. You cannot have much control. Why I am saying is that the organs of perception are exposed. You cannot shut them off. How long can you keep your eyes closed? During sleep, you can keep your eyes closed. That's all. Then you have to wake up. Otherwise, voluntarily, you cannot keep the eyes closed. The nostrils are open for you to breathe. So smell will enter. You have to eat to survive. So taste will enter through your tongue. And it is one of the very powerful stimuli. Ears are open. Sound will enter. Skin is obviously exposed. All sorts of stimuli will enter through skin also. So you cannot have sort of a restriction as far as receipt is concerned. That is why he is going to say that how you must deal with the stimuli that is coming in. So you may not have full restriction with reference to what stimuli you intake, but you can, if you have substantially at least reduced, let's say, the bulk of your desires, then you will not sort of react to each and everything in the world. So the stimuli come and die within you. Such a person will not be overreactive. His responses will be very far and few. That is why then you will be able to relate now how jnanis speak very little. That's what speech is a very forceful form of response or expression, right? Before somebody says something, we want to respond back, and that comes through speech. Then other organs of action and everything will join. But the moment if there is no reaction, if there is a test tube which is empty, then you pour chemical A into that test tube, what reaction will be there? It will not be there. But if the test tube B has some chemical and you pour it from A, there will be some reaction. There will be a precipitate, there will be change of color, there will be sometimes some boiling reaction. All these things can happen only when there is already some chemical in the test tube B. But if it is empty, it will not be there. So, the mind-intellect component can be compared to functioning of an office. The whole body is functioning of an office. The mind-intellect component is the people who run the office there. Let's say the manager and the clerk. Here you see that the receipt comes from the world. Obviously 5 arrows representing the 5 types of stimuli. It comes through the mind. And then the mind sort of submits it to the intellect. And then the intellect decides upon the response. And then the response is sent back to the world. This is the ideal functioning. This is ideal functioning. Like the clerk receives the letter or communication from the outside world, he submits that to the manager. It is the manager who has to think and respond. So manager is here the intellect, clerk is the mind. If the manager is sleeping, or if the manager is not available, or if the manager is not exercising his power properly, then what happens is that the clerk will receive and he himself will open the envelope, he himself will write some response and he will send it to whoever he wants to. Suppose like that, if the office functions, it is sooner or later the office has to shut down. Sometimes by chance something will happen, otherwise it's not a proper functioning of the office. Exactly like that. If our intellect is weak or not fully developed, then the mind which receives the stimuli reacts by itself and sends out the response back to the world by itself. Such a personality is, such a personality is susceptible to accident. You will not know what will happen to him. I mean, the 18th of July, we have Swamiji's Gurukripa-Vedanta talk, and the topic is live by choice, not by chance. So this is what it is. Sometimes you will drive, or even many times you feel that you have reached home safely. Having reached home safely, it is not, you can say for sure that you have driven according to the exact rules of driving. In fact, in India, when everybody reaches home safely by car, we have to say thank you to God. We do not know how each and every person has reached. This is probably one of the perfect proof of how law of karma is functioning. All the punya we have done in the past is still carrying us together. That's how we should take it. But there are proper rules of driving, and there is proper alertness of the driver. All that is required. Sometimes you may drink and drive also and reach home, but that does not mean that drinking and driving is correct. Similarly, sometimes certain things happen and it seems to you carry on with life, but that is not the ideal way. The ideal way is that the response must be directed from the intellect. So, since this type of a person who will not react is far and few. Basically, we are talking about renunciates. That is a very high level of evolution. All of us have very many thoughts, very many desires in various areas of interest. Little less here, little more there, but so many areas. So that is why if you analyze your own personality, think about it. Why are you so much reactive to even some flippant remarks somebody says, or reacting to something that is remotely happening somewhere which is not connected to you also, or reacting to something which is happening in the television serial or something which is not directly connected to you also? Why? It is just that something is waiting to react with it, and the stimuli are constantly fed, that's all. And what is waiting? It is various thoughts and various desires and various areas of interest, which generally you can call based on your vasanas, your tendencies. They are naturally sprouting and they are naturally coming up. Wherever and whenever there is a conducive thing that comes to that, immediately a reaction is triggered. And based on which, as I said, anything can be a response. Response can be usually with the organs of action. Sometimes it can be silence also, sometimes it can be frustration also, but you will know what the response is based on your body language, based on your thing. So this is the transaction, 3R transaction of life. Now the author says that you have to perfect all these three. If you want the system to happen properly, if you want your system to function properly, you need to work on all the three transactions of life, which is the receipt, reaction and response.
In the first transaction, your sense organs are constantly perceiving sense objects of the world. Your eyes see color and form, ears hear sound, nose smells odor, etc. Different types of stimuli reach your personality. You need to examine their quality, avoid the inflow of impure stimuli. These are the germs which cause psychological diseases. they create mental agitations. You must examine the type of sights that your eyes see, the type of food your tongue tastes, etc. Check your perceptions to ensure an inflow of pure, healthy stimuli.
You know that the invocatory prayer of Upanishads, we saw recently in Kaivalya. Kaivalya and Mundaka, they belong to the Atharva Veda. And the invocatory prayer for these Upanishads is Om Bhadram Karnevi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema Akshabihi Yajatraha. O gods, may our ears hear auspicious things. May our eyes see only auspicious things. And these are the prayers that are uttered by great rishis and the Upanishadic student at that level. So see how cautious they are. At any level, first and foremost thing is that you must be very cautious about what stimuli enters you. Stories of even rishis like Vishwamitra is given only to educate us on the power of the stimuli, the sense stimuli. It is very hard to control, and senses are powerful as horses. Kathopanishad gives about the example which you can picturize in the beginning of Gita also, that there is a chariot and it has 5 horses. Of course, Gita you will say 4 horses, but take it as 5 horses. 5 senses there. The 5 senses can pull you in 5 different directions like the horses, so it has to be absolutely under control. So sense control forms one of the basis of our spiritual journey. See here, since many people who are genuinely wanting to practice religion, practice spirituality, they may take to extremity of sense denial. Sense denial is not to contact the world at all, shut off everything. That will not work. Sometimes that will lead you to extreme frustration. So sometimes the teacher has to say that it really does not matter where you are, how you are in the society, but what really matters is what thoughts you entertain and what is the how pure your mind is. That is correct. But as you understand and practice this, that this should not be taken as a license for doing anything and everything in the world also. After all, what sir? My mind has to be pure. That's all. How does it matter whether I watch a movie or whether I go, even if I am being in contact with various other things, as long as I am making sure that my mind is pure, nothing else matters. Your statement is correct and it is 100% but theoretical. It doesn't work that way. It is that you need to exercise. We know that when a person is wearing, let us say, a white, like you have our academy uniform, this white dhoti and kurta or white color dress that you have. You are asked to bring coal from a coal godown and you go there and you carefully bring the coal. However careful you are also, your dress will be stained. You cannot escape it. You are after all going into the coal godown and coming out. You may try to pick yourself up properly and catch it, and with one hand you extend and you try to do everything. Even then there will be something or the other that will be sticking to you. Like that, when we are living amidst the world in samsara, you cannot escape these stimuli. It will be there. There will be people, even if you don't want, there will be people who will gossip. Gossiping is nothing but sending out all sorts of negativities. You will be meeting various types of people in office, at home. So, and you'll be also exposed to various types of food that you eat, sights that you see. Imagine what will be the stimuli that will be there maybe 5,000, 10,000 years back. See, even at that point of time, world is the same. But you cannot imagine this type of technology. Now, can you ever think of any time where you are not exposed to worldly stimuli coming through you? You have your mobile phone all the time. You are in the internet all the time. So even if you go to Himalayas now, you will be watching mobile there, right? It is. You will know exactly what is happening in America and Africa also from there. So it is just not possible to escape this in the present circumstance. But when Adi Shankaracharya talks about in his time, or the Upanishad master in their time, what will be the temptations? It will be there. Temptations are there that time also. But we cannot imagine it in the scale that we are experiencing now. The type of advertisements and other things that we are exposed to, see, it is said in 1950s, whatever is an average American, he watched the advertisement throughout his lifetime. We are watching it within a few months. And now it is much more, because anywhere you see. And what are these advertisements? Except for Pradhan Mantri Yojana or something, all the advertisements are directed to your senses only, right? It is some sort of something to do with your skin, something to do with your taste, something to do with your sight. So it is, what is this advertisement? They are only exposing and tempting you to get into more and more like that. So you must be careful as to what stimuli that you contact. And this is the starting stage of spiritual journey. Without this having a control over yourself, you cannot attempt to control the subtler aspects of our personality. So we should work on the stimuli. So it is very important that as far as possible, try to maintain satsang. Satsang is obviously association with good, holy and auspicious people, but not just that, at all levels. If at all you need to get to news and know, also read at the end of the day something and get yourself acquainted with it. Early in the morning, we must not read newspaper. And that is what we do. Early in the morning, you should read Vedanta Treatise, which is very tough. So double fault is we don't get in this stimuli and we get the other stimuli. So it is extreme, and see, it is always feeding negativities. That's all. If you read the newspaper, you will only understand that in a society or in a country, only rapes are happening, only murder is happening, only all sorts of these type only diseases there. Actually, that is not the case. News is something which is not usual. That is news, right? When dog bites a man, it is not news. When man bites a dog, it is news. It will come in the newspaper. Because man doesn't bite the dog regularly. It is news. It is rare. So, why I am saying is, this is not to justify. We need to correct things in our society. All that is fine. But if murder or rape is happening, that does not mean that is happening every time. And that is happening everywhere. And all people are like that. So, in fact, I'm not sure, but I read in an article that it is not mandatory, but like in countries like Israel, which is a very self-respecting country, they make it a point to publish one positive news about Israel on the first page, which is actually happening. Like that, millions of things are happening all over the world and in India also, but that will not get publicity. That will not get, because that does not give that sensation to us, and all of us are wanting that sensation. We want something to outrage about, we want something to get angry about, we want something to tickle our ego, the various things that is. So this is what mutually feed each other. It will probably take time, but you will never regret if you have not watched news or not watched newspaper for long. It is just that we have got habituated, that's all. It is just, see, Even newspapers and other things, it could have been much better hundreds of years, 100 years ago, when it was all run by great people and good thoughts. They were trying to, freedom fighters were also doing all these things. But Swami Ramatirtha cautions about newspaper even at that time. So, if at all you need to get acquainted with certain news, as I said, you can glance through it, but maybe the later part of the day. So, you need to work on what type of food you eat. Very important, actually. Only in India, of course, food is given extra importance here, but the root of it comes from even the Shastras. That intake that you have there, it is obviously directly related to what happens within your body. But the process by which you eat the food is also considered a very holy and auspicious activity. It is a yajna. Nowadays, we have meeting only during breakfast, lunch or dinner. And I am not saying you should do or should not do, because according to the practical level, you may do certain things. But it is said that you must silently eat without interacting with each other, and because it is a holy activity, and that is why we offer that to the Atma within. Brahmarpanam we say, and we eat it. It is also important that whoever prepares food, they must not be agitated while cooking. All those emotions get added. See, you will understand this. For those who are eating non-vegetarian, they will know this. When the animal is getting cut or killed, if it knows that it is going to be killed, the body secretes certain enzymes, right? And that is not good for the person who is eating it. So they make sure that there is a style of killing which is called as jatka, where you stun the animal and you kill it, or in the mass production, the animals are made sure that they are not aware that they are going to be killed. I mean, we use our intellect in all these ways, but we do it. Why? Because whatever you are consuming, it is going to directly affect your system. The emotions that the animal goes through at that point of time has a direct bearing on your physical reaction, and it is going to further be conducive for your emotions inside. It is easy when you relate this to a food which is a non-vegetarian food. Now, the principle that you need to understand here is that the food has a very great impact, not just on our body, it goes further down. So therefore, what type of food you eat is very important. What type of sound you hear is very important. That is why when, of course, now they are saying about even scientific experiment after very many things, but it is said in our Shastras also, even as the child is there in the mother's womb, if she is going to constantly expose herself to extreme sensational music and such vibrations, that is not really very conducive for the baby when it's going to come out. So she has to listen to various soothing music or shlokas like that. This is what they have said. And now it is being experimented and proven also. Because we see that they are experimenting to see even how plants are reacting to certain music. So obviously, if plants can react with no mind means whatever mind they have, what will be the impact on animals and what will be the impact on human beings? Phenomenal. And obviously the skin, everything for that matter. So we need to be very, very careful about the stimuli that we intake. So if you want to cleanse your house, you need to stop the flow of, let us say, the gutter water is coming inside through a pipe. You need to first stop it. And then only you can clean something inside. So exactly like that, we need to have a proper control or proper check over the sense stimuli. This is the first. If you are able to correct at the raw material level itself, then the other processes become little easier. So that is the importance of definitely satsang.
In the second transaction, examine the reactions that take place within you. You may regulate and receive pure stimuli, yet they may produce impure reactions like jealousy, greed, lust, etc. Depending upon the nature of your mind and intellect, there are two ways of controlling the reactions. The initial and temporary way is to become aware of them and check their effects from spreading further. But a permanent control is achieved by rehabilitating your mind and intellect through knowledge and understanding.
The second transaction is the reaction. Reaction is based on what our present level of evolution is. It all depends on the maturity with which we operate at the level of our mind and intellect. So the author says, even if you are making sure that you are in a conducive environment and you are receiving that type of stimuli also, but based on your thoughts, your desires, your emotions and your impulses, feelings inside, various types of reactions can happen. See, sometimes we see when we are having so much problem and so much of, let's say, agitations, we go to a satsang, we go to a temple to get that solace. We do get. There is God there. And the people who are there are devotees, whoever is there. The atmosphere itself is very beautiful and conducive there. Actually, it is fortunate that there is a priest there who is always there. But sometimes haven't we noticed, having been in presence of the God throughout, so much of reactions happen within them even at that point of time there also. It is not that we are not talking about them losing a temper or various other emotions outside the temple. While being there also it happens, right? Of course, we can understand it just as we are prone to various things in our workplace. That is his workplace, right? But the thing is that he is always in a so-called conducive environment, and that does not automatically make him a pure person. Automatically. Chances for him may be more, but that it doesn't automatically happen like that. Why? Because he has to work on his reaction. That is something else altogether. So therefore, constantly you must be aware of your reaction. So he says, these reactions, remember this, that at any point of time, you are what you are. You cannot suddenly do anything to yourself. At any point of time, accept yourself as you are. So, the awareness is that at least I must rehabilitate my mind and intellect. This is not how I should be. This is not the maturity with which I must operate in the world. There must be a better personality in me. And that is a thing that will happen, but it is a long term, it is going to take a long time. But what do you do now? So he says temporarily, at least first be aware of it. Because this awareness itself is lacking in majority. Suppose if a person is having that reaction of anger, he is not even aware that he is angry. Suppose you say, sir, why are you angry? When am I angry? He may shout like that. So you cannot tell him that at this point you are angry, sir, because at that point of time you can't even you can't even listen. You are not in a frame of mind, and that is how the ego operates. That's how the system operates. So with this thought association, with the satsang, with this knowledge, at least we must develop that awareness. In fact, Swamiji always says that to gain this knowledge is easy, but awareness is important. Only if you are aware that you need to gain this knowledge, you will gain this knowledge. But awareness, who can bring in you? Guru cannot bring, God cannot bring. The awareness has to be from within. That is why a great teacher or a great guru is one who is not one who communicates the knowledge, who is somehow able to bring that awareness within you, who is able to somehow kindle that awareness within you. Because if that awareness is kindled, you yourself will not stop content till you get that knowledge. You will find the source. You will go from teacher to teacher, or you will go from book to book, or whatever you will do. You are now in that mode of that I need to somehow correct myself or somehow evolve. That sort of thing will be set inside. So that is a great teacher who can kindle that awareness in you. Because if that awareness comes, then like a camphor will catch fire, you will catch this knowledge. It is very, it will easily gel with you. And knowledge is very easy and scientific. You will get it. But awareness, who is going to put in? That you have to bring in that awareness. That is why be always with those people with higher awareness. No other way. Mere reading of books and mere that's why at least even if you're spending time in YouTube and other things, be there with somewhat people who can kindle this awareness. We are constantly in social media now. We are not that way being introvert. We are in touch with the world through some other means. You may not know your neighbor, but you will know only those friends who are in the Facebook and Instagram, right? So your friends are different, or your neighbors are different. That's all it is. So you are there all the time. So at least be in touch with those who. So therefore, if a child is going to get, how does the child get local awareness? It is only by it is only by associating with people who have local awareness. How does the child know all the things that it is knowing within 1 year, within 2 years? It is knowing everything, right? Father, mother, food, dirt, everything it knows. How? Because it is living its life with father, mother, brother who are having this awareness. So, how will you get awareness of God? Only by moving with person who have awareness of God. Nothing else will work. These classes like this or any other sadhana that you do will be something conducive towards that. But ultimately, you have to live with your thoughts. Once you are at a greater level, you can be in any environment and nothing may touch you. But even then, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and others, they say, who are all jnanis. I think Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, you may correct if I'm making a mistake here. He's having a conversation with Totapuri Maharaj or somebody else. Who is sort of a jnani only. Who is a jnani? But morning, he is getting up and doing his own meditation. So Paramahamsa goes and asks him, why are you doing this? You are already there. You are already very evolved. You don't need all these practices. He says, this brass vessel, if you don't polish it on a daily basis, it will get that oxidation and it will become dark. So I need that polishing daily. That is what he is intending to say. So casually then Paramahamsa says, if it is a gold vessel, probably it doesn't need. Gold vessel all the time like that. So it is meaning a person who is enlightened is enlightened. There is no discussion about that person. But until you reach that point of time, you need to keep on polishing yourself. There is no, letting loose, or the complacency factor should not set in there. So one must be very, very careful about this. So on the temporary basis, at least be aware of your negativities. A time will come where you will develop your intellect and control all those things. But this awareness at the initial level is important. And then long term, you need to work on developing your mind and intellect. Rehabilitation, what we are attempting to do is that only. So it is not obviously in this class it will happen. It is based on your study, your reflection, your sadhana, your personal sadhana that is going to work on this. So it works on both bases, but you have to simultaneously keep both going. There must be constant awareness and constant taking in of knowledge. This is with reference to reaction. Now the response.
The third transaction of life is the responses transmitted through your organs of action. Examine the quality of actions executed by your body. If the actions are self-centered and selfish, they tell upon your life. They agitate your mind, make you unhappy. If they are unselfish, they generate peace and happiness. Hence, your actions have to be rendered unselfish. The knowledge of Vedanta helps you achieve that. Wherever you are, whatever you be, you must perfect the above three transactions in life. Every human being is well equipped to set things right for his spiritual evolution. Your present nature is best suited for your development. Realize that. Make good use of your faculties to discover the peace and happiness within you.
Underline this sentence, your present nature is best suited for your development. A fabulous statement. It needs a lot of deliberation and thinking, but it is a, very profound and a very practical statement. There is nothing better for our evolution than our present nature. It is a blessing of nature. It is God's gift. It is God's blessing for each one of us. We'll come to that. The third transaction is response. Logically speaking, if the stimuli is good and you have worked on your reaction, obviously the response has to be proper. It follows like that. But just as if the raw material is good and the machinery is overall from time to time and the process is perfect, then the finished product that comes out of that manufacturing unit has to be good. And yet, even the best of the organizations have systems that are put in place for quality control. So even in a sample of 1,000, they will take 1 or 2 to just check it. If it is okay, then the whole lot is passed. Exactly like that, from time to time, you may just have an observation about the type of actions that you execute. The quality of the actions will tell upon you based on what reaction it further produces. Here we are not talking about receipt reaction response here, in the sense that if it is coming out of a genuine unselfish aspect of your personality, which is all again dependent on your mind and intellect, etc., then you will feel genuinely good about your actions. On the contrary, the converse, if your mind is agitated, if the immediate reaction that happens within your system, something is pricking your conscience or something like that, then you need to just visit your actions back and see what you have done. Swami Ramatirtha says you need not wait till next Janma to see the effects of your action. Just turn your pages of your life a couple of days back and you will know what you have done. In Kali Yuga, the results are instantaneous. Okay, so each and every action of yours will produce and that is where the awareness also helps. If you will be acutely aware. In fact, in part B, he is going to talk about an exercise called introspection. If you are able to do that on a daily basis and to see that what are the activities that you have done in the day, then, just before going to sleep, it's a wonderful exercise. For 5 minutes only you should do. You are not criticizing, you are not analyzing at that point of time, but you are just aware of whatever activities you have done during the day. That time itself, sometimes certain parallel thoughts will be created. This is again with reference to making your intellect available. But just check your responses. If you are feeling any agitation, if you are feeling something not exactly conducive according to your level, then you need to correct at your level. See, it may be not the same for all people. That is why his level is different, his reaction is different, and a person may not feel it at all. Do not compare yourself with him. It is directly and specifically addressed to you. You are in the process of evolution. You want to improve yourself. You better check your actions. Somebody else may not even check his actions. Why should he check? You take to the extreme. A tiger kills something and it does not feel any reaction about it. And why should the tiger do? That's tiger's nature. Leave the tiger to do whatever it is doing. You are interested means you should do for yourself. So this is just like a quality check. And then he goes on to say, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to perfect all these three transactions, which is receipt, reaction and response. Your present nature is best suited for your development. It is talking about, or it will boil down to only understanding your present nature as Swadharma. Whatever is your nature, see, that does not mean, see, suppose if a person is lazy, you try to think about it, because as I said, it's a very profound statement. A person is lazy and he is feeling lazy all the time, that is his nature. Does it mean that laziness is conducive for his evolution? A person is always short-tempered and angry, okay, that is his nature. Can we say that being angry all the time is going to help him evolve? Or a person is having nature of stealing or something like that. Can you say that is going to be the path that I should take? No. So what does it mean? See, it means that you are what you are today based on whatever you have done in the past, and that is what has come as the fruit to you now. You cannot now run away from this because it is all matured. It has fructified. You have to deal with it. While you deal with it, you have to employ yourself in the world and try to exhaust it. Try to get away from it. For you to rise above it, for you to sublimate that, you have to do it in such a way that it does not recur to you. So therefore you have to plan your life, you have to work your life in such a way that you are able to conveniently work. At the same time, it is also conducive for you to evolve spiritually. So for example, if you say a person has always this fighting tendency, then he must employ himself in such a way that the fighting tendency in him is used in a proper way. So in other words, to put it, we are going to see in the next chapter maybe, he belongs to a category which is like a Kshatriya category or something like. If a person is always constantly shouting or something, right? I don't know, he must be made somewhere a supervisor in a construction work or something where he will have to shout and get things done. That's all it is. So he has to, his things and his expressions, he must be used properly in an area of activity where that expression is going to be helpful for him. Now, what we must work out is that these things are employed in such a way that you are aware of it and you are consciously making it useful for your evolution. That is where our sadhana comes. This is not to justify your anger, this is not to justify your tamasic attitude and other things. We have to work consciously. We have to get over our tamas, we have to get over our rajas, all that is correct. But for each and every person, it is not a one rule fit all formula. Here, when we attend a class, we develop our intellect, it is applicable for all. But having this intellect developed and having your process going, what is it that exactly you must do, that will differ from person to person. So your present nature is best suited for your evolution. One of the fabulous statements. So therefore, do not try to be pressurized by peer pressure and social pressures and various other things. You need to work out your evolution on an individualistic basis. And that is where he is going to talk about complexes next. Because unnecessarily we compare with others and that's where we get complex, right? Does any animal feel in any way superior or inferior? No. Does the tortoise feel it is slow and the hare feel it is fast and proud about it? It is a story that we use for our education, that's all. Does the crow feel it is ugly or peacock feel? Nothing like that. So there is no such thing as in the animal world, very casually, and they are living life like that. But unfortunately, in human beings, this is a very deep-rooted malaise, that nobody is just wanting to be themselves. Either they are suffering from an inferiority complex, or they suffer from a superiority complex. Right, we take up this complex in the next class. If there are any questions, you can unmute and ask. Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, the question is, I said, how do we differentiate is that a good of necessity or out of greed? In a sense, both are desires itself. So, how do we look at it?
If I have understood you right, you are asking the difference between desire that is coming out of necessity and the desire that is coming out of greed.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, obviously, with reference to the emotions like greed, which is all furtherance of your desires, which takes momentum in your personality, you will be aware of those things as your intellect becomes more and more aware. So, when a person you are talking about greed here with reference to acquisition of a particular object, that is understandable. But greed is a furtherance of your desire which has already gained much momentum. Any of the desires which reaches that level has to have the awareness of your intellect. But when you are talking about a desire for necessity, which I am thinking it is a very general and a positive desire. Suppose there are desire which is pertaining to my basic instincts of life. Food I need is a necessity. I am taking a very extreme example. Okay, so the test is this. See, suppose whatever is in I think Bhagavat or somewhere else a statement comes. What is the way by which we draw a line that this much money only I need? Yavat vittam prayojanam. Yavat vittam prayojanam means as much as you require, you have. Nothing more than that. This is a very, very sort of dicey statement for as much as you require means everything is actually justified by a car. Of course I require a car. Of course I require a Mercedes car also. When the next thing comes, of course I require a second car also. Each and everything that we justified that it is a necessity. So that is why you can always develop this intellect. When you go along the process, one of the tests is that a person will be able to survive on basic minimum needs and requirements. Socrates says, whenever I pass through a shop, I am amazed at the number of things that a man can do without. Whenever I pass through a shop, I am amazed at the number of things that a man can do without. That means a hallmark of an evolved person is self-sufficiency. So that which is required for you obviously will be provided to you. That is one thing. But there is nothing wrong if you are seeking the basic things of life. Now, only when your desire is about something higher in life will, in comparison with which there will be an analysis of the other desire also. Therefore, I would say develop desire for something higher in life. Let there be greed there. It's okay. It's okay, I would say. So based on which you will know what else is the greed. So in other words, it's simple. Even when it comes to technology, just resist for when a desire comes, resist for 2 weeks. I'm just saying 2 weeks as arbitrarily. Only when there is a pressure that is required that a laptop is necessary or a change in mobile phone is necessary, you will have to go for it. Otherwise, many people who have even Apple phone and other thing, they don't know all the features even that are there for them to use. Why are they having? Because others are having. That's all it is. Or it is a very strong desire for them to have. So, you have to resist within you and see if you can do without. That is also a test for this. Why shouldn't we talk while eating? Okay. See, it is a very, very important spiritual activity. When you are talking to maintain silence, obviously, practically it is not possible, but at least live in the thought that imagine that is a very great spiritual exercise. The eating that we do is actually offering of ahuti to the Atma within. It is a yajna. So when you are doing yajna, only the mantras are going on there. This is the actual yajna that is happening. Okay. So now what you are doing is a spiritual activity, and when you talk, actually what happens is that your energies are expended out, where in the yajna your energies has to be sublimated to a higher level. So people are now even walking, we eat something on the road and we walk and all, it is all not actually recommended. Various things are there with reference to food, which we can discuss in later, but we must not talk, because not only while eating, Swami Ramatirtha says, even as you go for a walk, don't talk, he says. You are expending energy and you are breathing out carbon dioxide, he says. You only breathe through your nostrils when you are able to get full breathing to your lungs. He's talking about walking, not to talk about eating. In eating is a very holy and a spiritual exercise where your thought must be concentrated on the yajna that is going on. We are talking about a very idealistic picture here. But if you can relate to that, you will understand there must not be any other transaction while eating here. Yeah, question was, when the king or a pauper or a beggar are sleeping, how are they different? No, they are not different. The answer is they are not different while sleeping. They are different only when they wake up. Think about it. So the differentiation is only in manifestation. In unmanifestation, there is no differentiation.
In the last class, I asked you the question that regarding the personality, it depends on the BMI. And my question was, when body, mind and intellect are all 5 elements, and 5 elements being the same in all people, why there is a difference in it? You asked me to contemplate on it.
Yeah.
I have failed.
Okay.
I'm not able to proceed.
So I'm only pointing out the fallacy in the question. You are bringing out the differentiation in the question itself and saying that why it is not the same. So actually you have to think in terms of the differentiation is not there only at the level of the Atma. So when you are splitting it into 5 elements, you are assuming the existence of 5 elements independently, which is not the case. So as long as that differentiation is there, then your body and my body will be different, your mind and my mind will be different, my intellect and your intellect will be different. You have to accept and go along with it. So therefore Vedanta says body, mind, intellect is different for you, different for me. But when it comes to the Atma, which is enlivening factor behind this body, mind, intellect, it is one and the same.
Because if a person's nature is to be lazy,
Yeah.
what kind of plan of action could that person have?
Okay, basically he belongs to the sort of tamasic category where he needs to be employed properly in a way that he gets proper instructions and works. And his area of activity will be hard physical labor, something like that. So he will work hard and he will sleep well. That sort of, and his life is oriented towards pleasures of life. That's how it is. So in the Purusharthas of life, he is more oriented towards the Kama aspect of it. And that is okay for him. And as long as he is employed properly, the headache belongs to the person who is employing him. In that sense. Right. So thank you. We meet on Friday. No promotion.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.